Okay, so this project is in Évora in Portugal. Oh, sorry. Évora is about 130 kilometers east of Lisbon. It's in the Alentejo region in Portugal. It is of a remarkable historic origin. It has a lot of Roman architecture, but it's not just kind of historic city. It's also a very vibrant university town. It's also a hub of the wine industry, and architecture there is very much shaped by its climate. So the summers are very hot and dry, whereas the winters are quite cool and very humid. But what is particularly unique and relevant also for this project that we've designed is the demographics there. So almost 30% of the population is older than 65 years old. And then you have 15% of the population, which are the students at the university. So this kind of set the stone for an opportunity to design a facility that doesn't just cater to forms a healthcare facility and a school facility, but also fosters intergenerational interaction. So where health, education, and community life can come together. In Portugal, health centers, it's quite similar to the UK National Health Service. It's universal. They're called Centros de Saúde. They are the cornerstones of the health stone. So this is the first place where you go for non-emergency care, and it's a place that you keep coming back to. So they are really community anchors. They ensure that the care that people receive is local, it's accessible, and really also to keep reducing unnecessary hospital visits and guarantee access to healthcare, especially for vulnerable groups like the elderly, children, and low-income families. So they are quite a point of pride for the Portugal society as they promote social inclusion. And just as these health centers are not just places for getting better, schools are also not just places that foster knowledge and culture. So when you think about education, principles such as inclusion, adaptability, collaboration, responsibility are kind of key points that guided us in our designs, in the hope that they could shape the experience of the spaces that people would have in the project. So these principles of healthcare values and educational values kind of combined shape the vision for this project. So because when they share the same core values, the architecture can then also form a space where it kind of becomes a living ecosystem and they can benefit from each other. The site at the moment is still a very beautiful, untouched, natural meadow, but soon it will be developed, and the first step of that is a central Alentejo hospital designed by Eduardo Sotemora. So we kind of had to consider both the future imminent construction as well as this beautiful natural surrounding. So the new building will be on the right side, so on the west. You're going to come from the city, from the left. So we sort of kept actually everything that's natural, untouched, and located the parking in between the two buildings to create a buffer there. So to allow the nature to wrap around the building, so then when you arrive, you kind of really have this contact to nature. Évora, of course, as many Portuguese cities, has a very unique and wonderful urban fabric that we try to recreate. So rather than just building one big block, it is fragmented into smaller parts that generate alleys, squares, and these interstitial spaces that encourage formal and informal social life, so where people just chat on the street. And the interior and the exteriors blend, so that kind of the purpose of the building extends beyond its walls. And the other important element is the pergola, which is a very traditional Mediterranean element that we've here reinterpreted as a unifying canopy that provides shading and sheltering and invites people to spend time together. So this was kind of our vision, to create this village under a canopy. So kind of starting off with a simple massing, we've kind of cut this off and fragmented it into these spaces I talked about, to create these indoor-outdoor social areas, and breaking it into 4 different blocks. And then we've added terraces on the upper levels, and then covered this with a canopy. So unifying this entire building into kind of one simple gesture that also provides the year-round comfort, and to kind of give it a strong outlook. So can architecture really change behavior? I think that's probably a question that we're all trying in this forum, trying to address. So these kind of architectural moves that we did, they weren't just formal ones, but they were really trying to create, have a social agenda behind it. So we are trying to recreate an urban environment that is intended to design isolation and promote encounters between people, between old and young. So, and we're trying to bridge the gap between the young users and the kind of old people, between those that seek healthcare and those that come for education into this building, so that it sort of becomes like a community classroom, so a classroom of how community can work. And the entire building is kind of designed around these social spaces, squares, terraces, alleys, so places where education and the community can interweave. So where we've created these places that we call meet and learn spaces, and environments where dialogue, discovery, and knowledge can grow through sharing. And the common areas here unfold really with the surrounding landscape and reinforcing a natural environment that inspires productivity and well-being. And then on top of it, at the heart of the complex, we have this central green box that contains all the teaching rooms and informal meeting areas that binds this together, and kind of as a main structural element that's directly connected to the outdoor terraces and the outdoor life. So if we look a bit closer at the master plan, we have a kind of longitudinal axis, kind of cutting the building into left and right in plan at the ground floor. So you see it's a very simple story. On the right side, we have the theoretical aspects of teaching and servicing, and then on the left side, we have the practical ones. So we have the health center, with the main entrance at the north. We have also the parking support areas in the west side for staff, etc. And then on the second floor, again, you have on the left the laboratories, which are also connected to the health center. And on the right side, we have the theory. And then on the top, this kind of green box that bridges the theory and practice as a unifying element. So as with everything, this project has to be phased, so flexibility is kind of quite important. It was based on this 10 by 10 module so that it can grow as demands increase and finance becomes available as well. So initially, this is kind of planned to be two-phase building, kind of steadily increasing towards the west. Main buildings are polycarbonate because it kind of echoes the typical buildings of the Alentejo, which are white, solid, painted buildings, which kind of shine against this very blue magic sky you have in Portugal. So, whereas, of course, polycarbonate emits this diffuse light at day and night, so it kind of has a kind of magic atmosphere about it or mood. Of course, just to try to achieve the near zero energy building standards. There's photovoltaics on the roof, and generally by breaking up the building and encouraging more natural ventilation, kind of trying to reduce heat loss and energy costs. So can architecture really help with healing? So I think the key sort of hypothesis of this building is that there is a benefit to combining spaces for healing and spaces for learning. So I kind of teach medical students alongside families who are learning how to care for their loved ones. And then where classrooms kind of become community health workshops, and where perhaps hopefully the building itself teaches accessibility and empathy and resilience. So if you bring health and education together under one roof, it's not just a facility, but hopefully something that triggers a healthier, wiser, and more connected societies. So we kind of think perhaps this could be a way to expand a way of how we can think about healthcare architecture beyond hospitals, and really focus on the shared spaces where these health and education can merge, and where we also see how we can thrive across generations. So I was kind of lucky, of course, in the brief of how we could address these two overlapping missions of the Evora Health Center. So on the one, addressing the physical and emotional needs of this aging population, but on the other hand, also creating spaces for education, prevention, and shared expertise, so where doctors, students, and the older citizens can learn together. Thank you.